I'm really excited to see you coming back with MLW, but my most important question of all, does the theme song come back too? Because you have maybe the best theme song in professional wrestling today.
We'll see. It's a new time, you know what I mean? Things are definitely different than when they left off. And I don't know. I don't know if 2020, I actually, you know what I should say? That song is a perfect representation of all that, things that have gone on in 2020. It's angry. It's threatening to kill you. And it seems like 2020 is just, a bunch of that. So, yeah, it'll probably be back because it's fitting. Why not?
It is. Is that you on the theme song? I can never figure out because I don't know.
No. It's actually Henry Rollins, but it's I don't know. Court found that song, so
that's a Henry Rollins deep cut.
Yeah, it's a Henrietta Collins and the Child Beating Wife Haters or something like that. Wife Beating Child Haters. I can't remember. So it's like a side project of his, I guess. But yeah.
I thought I knew a lot about Henry Rollins, but the fact that I didn't know that, I feel very belittled.
Yeah. I mean, I could be, peddling false information for all that I know, but from what I understand, that's the deal. Yeah.
Cool. When MLW comes back, do the stories just continue from where they were before shutdown, or is that still being worked out?
I mean, it's one of these things like there's definitely going to be a shift in the competitors that are on the shows. There's going to be a shift in storylines, I'm sure. Even though MLW hasn't run a show in 7 months, I guess, I don't know, something like that. A lot of work has been done through social media, and the MLW Underground show, has the Pulp Fusion deal every week. So storylines have luckily been able to kind of keep going or evolve and progress. Maybe not at the rate that they would have, obviously, had all this stuff not happened, but you've still been able to kind of keep the same storylines going. There's going to be a shift in personnel. I'm sure there's going to be different people on the roster, so some of that's going to change. But I think the core, core feuds, Team Filthy and the Von Eriks. I'm sure we've added members. They're going to be back, so that's the one that I'm most focused on, obviously. So nothing's really going to change as far as my outlook goes on what I'm trying to accomplish and who I'm trying to go after. I still want to make sure that the Von Eriks know that MLW is my show, not theirs,
Yeah, when I spoke with the Von Eriks about 2 weeks ago, they were still calling you out and all that, which I don't fully get it. I don't know why they'd be picking on a person who does everything that they say that they're going to do. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, the Von Eriks are like, they're puppy dogs out there. They're very naive. They don't realize what they're getting themselves into. I don't know if they want to realize what they're getting themselves into. These guys, it's like people look at them and go, they're kind of new in the business and this and that. But like they've been wrestling for, 10 years and they still haven't figured this stuff out. They still haven't figured out who the toughest guy in the locker room is. I hung out with these guys for months and months and months, so I know what they're about. And it's honestly, there's not a whole lot going on there between the ears with either one of them. And when that's the deal, when your ringleader is, by default your dad, not because he's been relevant for 20 years, but because you live on an island, you're isolated, and there's nobody else around, they are stuck in like a different time period, a different era. And quite frankly, I mean, that's the past. They're like a relic of years gone by, and they need to update their game. I'm embarrassed by them at this point.
They're not up to the Filthy Tom era because am
They're
I
not
correct?
Up to my standard. They're not up to my standards. And quite frankly, I don't have very high standards. So that tells you a lot about the Von Eriks.
There you go. Are you still calling Vegas home these days?
Yeah. This beautiful abode, this hardcore brick wall behind me is in Vegas. Where else would I live? I mean, it's the fight capital of the universe. When the world's normal, I could go to a boxing event on a weeknight. I could go see some fights on a Tuesday evening. The stuff that I really, really love and enjoy is in abundance here. So there's no reason for me to be anywhere else.
Yeah, it always intrigues me about, though, how many wrestlers call Vegas home, not just boxers and MMA people. Is it that you moved out there to pursue that part of your career, or did you have another calling in Vegas?
No, I mean, I had been out here, God, I don't even know, 20, 30, 40 times before I moved out here. But I came out here for knee surgery and ended up meeting my now wife. So that was kind of the catalyst. Vegas is one of these places that you either love it or you hate it. And for a long time, I would come here and it was basically just a party. It was centered around going out, getting tanked at the nightclub, hanging around with the most beautiful woman that money can buy. Someone else's money, not mine, of course. And by the time that I moved out here, it was kind of a different situation.
Right.
Vegas itself has grown rapidly over, not just the past. Well, the city's not even that old. It's like less than 100 years old. But over the past, 30 years, 20 years, even 10 years, this place looks completely different than it did before, especially when you get outside of the Strip. So
yeah,
it's like a different. Vegas isn't what everybody thinks. It's not like. I rarely go to the Strip. I never go out and party at this point. It's very suburban lifestyle, but you can live any sort of life that you want. I could be at the mountains if I want. I could be at lakes, within an hour on the water if I want. So there's tons of stuff to do, and you can live any kind of life that you want. Maybe I'll decide to go party tonight now that we're talking about it. Who knows?
Makes sense to me. That's very interesting to hear you say all of that. That's the city where I got married in. That's the city that I like to go to see concerts. I think the second and third to last concert I saw was David Lee Roth in Vegas. So it's very interesting to see who chooses it to be their home and why it is. I have not heard a better explanation than the one that you just gave, but I don't think anyone else on the MLW roster is there. Am I wrong?
I'm trying to think now, and there's nobody else that's smart enough at this point to have moved out here. It's like we don't have state income tax. There's a lot of benefits to living out here. The cost of living in a big city with access to virtually anything I could want, it's pretty cheap. It's getting more expensive, but I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of boneheads that are out there on this roster. Because there should be more wrestlers, even though there are a ton, there should be more wrestlers living out here.
Exactly. And on the training end, what's your training been like? Because gyms were not open. Maybe they're still not open in Vegas?
They've been open for a long time. Probably, I think June was when gyms reopened here. So it's been quite a while. And when you're in my situation, when you're in my shoes, you have access to means of training that perhaps the layperson doesn't. So, I know people, and for the past 6 or 7 months, I've been training. I didn't really take too much time off. I was more careful with who I was training with and how many people and, that sort of situation. But, I've been back at it for a while.
So no COVID-15 for Filthy Tom.
I've probably been tested 15 times and haven't, it's been negative every time. I haven't been tested for the antibodies, and nor do I know how that works.
I'm at the weight gain because Filthy Tom can stay in shape because you've had all the resources and all that. A lot of your peers, they either got in the best shape of their lives or the worst shape of their lives in the last over 6 months or so.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really paid much attention to them because I've been paying attention to myself. There's not much there's so little that we could control over the past 6 months that I kind of gave up on trying to control anything outside of what I could. And, I really I have a home gym, and there's a reason I have a home gym. It's because I've learned over the past few years that I'm just addicted to exercise. I'm a masochist. If it wasn't me getting punched in the face, if it wasn't me getting thrown on my head, dumped to my neck, whatever it is, I'd be slaving underneath the barbell in my garage for hours a day. So I have an addictive personality, and, I just got to let it ride. And, a lot of times when you can find something that's going to be more productive than it would be detrimental as a hobby, hey, this is better than me spending my hours doing drugs or spending that money on drugs or, alcohol, whatever else. This is my vice. And luckily it paid off over the past, 6 months. Now you see people trying to start home gyms or trying to buy equipment, and guess what? They can't, because I have it all.
You got each and every last piece of it. Well, you got time for 2 quick questions, and then you can go back to that home gym of yours?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what's been your best TV discovery over the last 6 months? Even if you're not a TV guy, come on, you were watching more TV the last 6 months than you ever were. Still a no.
No, I haven't watched. I mean, I've watched the news, I guess. But honestly, there's not a show that I picked up on watching. I mean, that's not a lie. I couldn't tell you a movie that I even watched during that time. I started reading more books, I guess.
So your wife?
I swear to you, I'm trying to think of a show that I watched, and I can't do it.
Your wife didn't make you as part of date night watch 90 Day Fiance or something like that?
No. I actually know a guy that was on that. So I trained with a guy that was on that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I'm surprised no TV at all, because let's say I think you'd be a Cobra Kai kind of guy.
No, not it. You know what? I'm not interested in watching that whatsoever. It's one of these things, people will talk to me. They go, "Hey, do you watch The Ultimate Fighter?" And it's like, no, I live it every single day of my life. That's the last thing I want to do is go, watch more of that. Sure, I'll watch some fights where I don't know what's going to happen, but this is day-to-day life for me. I know the outcome of Cobra Kai. I deal with people like this that are from there in the Miyagi dojo on a daily basis, and I want nothing to do with it. Keep it away from me.
Wow. So before I ask my last question, what I've learned.
Hold on. Oh. Because I didn't watch any shows, I'll tell you a couple books that I've read recently. I've read the Rap Yearbook that was on a recommendation. Let's see. I just read this other book. Very good. I love books like this. When Churchill Slaughtered Sheep and Stalin Robbed a Bank by Giles Milton, who also has one when Hitler took cocaine and Stalin lost his brain, I believe. They are collections of short stories throughout history. God, what else? I've got Life in the Ankara, which is a book about, life growing up in Indian wrestling. Whatever, but no TV.
So even though your former roster mate MJF had the better than you gimmick, it sounds like you are living the better than you life in actuality. You're training more than everyone, you're reading more than everyone, and you don't have to go out and party unless you feel like it.
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between there's a lot of differences between MJF and I, but one of them is that I don't know how old he is. He's 23?
24, 25, yeah.
24. When I was his age, that's kind of how I acted. Now with years and years of both giving out beatings and getting beat up, my outlook is a little bit different. I don't really care. Here's the deal. What I'm focused on is being the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. And it's not like that's my goal is to be better than everybody else, but I realize that inherently the best version of myself is going to be better than everybody else out there. So it's just a different way of looking at it. I think he looks at it as trying to shove it in people's faces, and I'm not trying to do that. I just want them to know, and I want it to be apparent how far ahead of them I am. So
you're a doer. So the last question, any last words for the kids?
I do it all for the kids. I do it for the children. I want them to know that the future that I am paving for them is paved in filth. And you're going to have to get dirty if you want to reach the end of that road.
I can't say that any better myself. So, Tom, thank you so much for your time, and really looking forward to seeing you back on TV again, even if TV is inferior to books.
Yeah, you can read. Hopefully, they'll be writing books about me in the not too distant future. But yeah, check out MLW. I mean, there's a litany of ways to do it. YouTube, Fubo, beIN Sports. I know I'm probably missing something in there. I'll get yelled at.
23 countries, I think.
Yeah, there's a million out there. I'm on my computer, so I don't have the notes in front of me, but check us out.
The key is, if you're not watching this guy, you're doing something wrong. So thanks again for your time, and just keep up the greatness.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Paltrocast.